Good morning, ma'am. The topic that I discussed today is what is well-formed XML, what is Xpath, what is DOM, and what is XSLT. First, what is well-formed XML? An XML document is called well-formed if it satisfies certain rules specified by the W3C. We have a certain rules in well-formed XML. First, a well-formed XML document must have a corresponding end tag for all of its start tags. Second, nesting of elements within each other in an XML document must be proper. Third, in each element, two attributes must not have the same value. Fourth, markup characters must be properly specified. Fifth, an XML document can contain only one root element, so the root element of an XML document it does not appear as a child element within any other element. In an XML element or in a well-formed XML, we have a root. Root contains parent of all elements. The root is the parents of all content element. XML prologue. This is optional, written at the first line. XML tags. Element must have a closing tag case sensitive. Attributes must be quoted to see value. Nesting. XML must nested properly. Entity reference. Some character have meaning in XML and if used it will provide error, instead replace it with entity reference. Comment. Comment start with this. With this white space, collection of spaces, tools, and new lines. XML tags follows the rules and syntax is a well-formed XML. I'll give you some example of well-formed XML. What is DOM? DOM stands for Document Object Model. Document Object Model or DOM is an application programming interface or API for HTML and XML documents. It defines the logical structures of documents and the way of a document is accessed and manipulated. The DOM is designed to be used with any programming language. DOM also is a standard for how to get, change, add, or delete XML elements. I'll give you some example of XML DOM. Third, what is Xpath? XML path language is the query language for selecting nodes from an XML documents. In addition, Xpath may be used to compute values, example, string, and numbers, from the content of an XML document. Xpath was defined by the World Wide Web Consortium or W3C. We have two types of XPath. First, the absolute XPath and the relative XPath. When we say absolute XPath, it is the direct way to find the element. But the disadvantage of the absolute XPath is that if there are any charges made in the path of the element, then the XPath gets failed. The key characteristic of XPath is that it begins with the single forward slash, which means you can select the element from the root node. When we say relatives XPath naman, relatives XPath start from the middle of HTML DOM structure. It starts with double forward slash. I'll give you some example of of XML Xpath. What is XSLT? XSLT, the World Wide Web Consortium, or W3C, started to develop XSL because there was a need for an XML-based style sheet language. XSLT, or equals to XSL transformation, and if the most important part of XML. XSLT is used to transform an XML document into another XML document or another type of document that is recognized by a browser like HTML. Normally, XSLT does this by transforming each XML element into an HTML element. A common way to describe the transformation process is to say that XSLT transform an XML source tree into an XML result tree. I'll give you some example of XSLT.